Brother Allen, I hope your Tuesday is going super fantastic, my brother. So this right here is just a overview of my most current Math 243 Excel calculator based on the new 243 stuff. Let's dive in. This first one here, this stats group data tab, all it is really is it's a way to do a weighted average and median and standard deviation in Excel, which is kind of a pain in the ass when you think about the formulas that you have to use, especially for the standard deviation, which I hope he doesn't have you calculate manually. So basically, if you've got your data in a group like this, this is just what I have loaded into it right now. But let's suppose, I don't know, let's suppose you roll a die, a six-sided die, a bunch of times. So the possible values you could have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And let's say you roll it, I don't know, a bunch of times and you get 45 ones and you get 52s and you get 43 fours and 44 fours. Oh, excuse me, 43 threes, 44 fours. It's hard to talk this morning. I need more coffee. And let's just suppose that's your data. So on that, with this data set right here, with these data this many times, your average is going to be 3.3, your median's a 3, your standard deviation's a 1.6. Looks like you rolled it 255 times, and then this is just all the data added up. So this comes in handy. When you have just discrete data values that are in like a list, you can just use the equals average, equals median, equals standard deviation commands. But for grouped data, this seems to be pretty helpful for my students. So that's why that tab is there. Now, what you're doing, it sounds like you're doing right now, are the confidence intervals. And you should be doing two kinds of confidence intervals, one for proportions and one for means. And it sounds like you just got done doing the mean confidence intervals, which is exactly what I was just doing with my kiddos too. So here are the proportion ones. So what's nice about this calculator is all you've got to do is literally do what this box says. Change XN, and if needed, your confidence. So let's suppose you flip a coin 500 times and you get heads 300 times. Okay, there. At 95% confidence, the confidence interval for those results is 55.7% to 64.29%. And Brother Allen, I just realized while I was editing your video that since that entire confidence interval is over 50%, we are 95% confident that that coin is flipping heads more often than a fair coin would. Which is kind of the point of this whole calculator, is let it calculate the interval so you can interpret it. Mwah! That's based off of the p hat value that you get from dividing those two, and then the margin of error, which is calculated from, I hope he's not still making you calculate those manually, but it's the z times the square root of p hat q hat over n. So, but I make my students do one of those, of course. There it is right there if you want to see it. I make them do one in class together when we do our spinning pennies experiment, but there's really no reason to ever do it again once you've done it once by hand. So this is just a real quick confidence interval calculator. You can change your confidence. Right now it's set at 95%. You can also change it to 90. And if that is the case, then it changes your Z critical value to about 1.65. You can make it 99%. I don't know if he ever messes with that, but this and it updates the entire calculation based on the new values of the confidence that you put in. Okay. I'm not sure if he did sample size for proportions. He may have. I always like to, how big a sample do you need if you want to be off by no more than a margin of error of 3% and you want to be at 95% confidence. This just does the math for you there. Again, the formula is a little bit clunky and students make errors on it all the time, so I just give them a calculator to use. Okay, so those are both tied to proportions. The one you were doing yesterday, most likely, is the average one. So if you have an average data set that you're trying to form a confidence interval around. And it sounds like this is what you were dealing with the tutors in the tutoring lab. What's nice about this is, again, same exact thing. All you've got to do is get in your sample average, sample standard deviation, and sample size. Confidence as a decimal. And this is going to do the the T distribution. That T score, you said that the students were using, the tutors were using Z scores instead of T. This automatically uses the T value. So let's suppose, I don't know, you got an average of 23 and you got a standard deviation of 5. I have no idea, I'm making this up now, and you did 67 data points. The T distribution will update automatically for you. And here's your confidence interval right over here. It's at least 21.78, at most 24.22. That's what your 95% confidence interval is. Both of these, in this one and this one over here, up here, I gave it to you also in statistic plus or minus margin of error form. I don't know which form you need or which form you use. I always use this one personally. This is my personal favorite just because it gives you the lower confidence limit and the upper confidence limit. So both of those have those in them. I'm not going to talk about the other ones yet. There's other tabs over here. That's for hypothesis testing, which it sounds like you have not gotten into yet. I'm just about to get into that with my kiddos next week. So if you want to chat about that, I'm happy to talk through that with you. It's just, this is going to save you a lot of time and energy and effort, especially with that T versus Z thing, man. Like, you shouldn't be looking at tables for that. That's just ridiculous. Okay. I think this is at least a beginning for you. Let me know if this helps. And you got my phone number if you need me, brother. Love you. Bye.